Yo, what is up? It is 11/12/2025. Well, everything is lagging right now. I got a trade recap for what we did today. I'm trying to get this done pretty quick because I still have to do journaling. I did my document journal, which I'll show in a second here. On top of that, I'm doing this, and I didn't do the live recording for today. And then I got to do my notebook journal after this, which I want to do. It's already almost 10 o'clock, so I'm going to get right into this. All right, let's get right into it. We can go right into market open. Gosh, I wanted to get this done earlier. There we go. So we're looking at NASDAQ. I took the trade on NASDAQ, but we'll look at both time frames. Coming into the day, start new. We can go to the 30-minute. Coming into today, this candle was not formed yet, right? So we didn't really have bullish or bearish bias. We were obviously looking bullish, but then I also knew on high time frame equilibrium, we seemed kind of overextended. So I thought maybe we'd want to push lower than to continue higher. So ideally see sell side liquidity sweep, look for buy side move, or maybe a buy side move off market open and end up looking for shorts down lower. So coming into it, we can go to the 15-minute. Market opens, right? We end up sweeping out 1 hour sell side liquidity, 4 hour sell side liquidity on both of the pairs, NASDAQ and ES. On the higher time frame on the 1 hour, we have a 1 hour order block, which we ended up coming down into, and I'll show you the move I got in off of that. And then on ES, on the 1 hour, ES is 1 hour and 4 hour. We had a 4 hour sell side liquidity resting right here before we got in, and we had a 1 hour draw, a 1 hour imbalance and 4 hour imbalance resting right there. So market opens, we sweep the sell side liquidity. On the 1 hour and the 4 hours, one thing to note, what my buddy was explaining to me, because if we looked on the higher time frames, we had 5-minute candles that were being formed right around here, sweeping out lows that we were sweeping, where ES wasn't close to sweeping it yet, right? So I was looking at like potential SMTs, but my buddy said we want to more be focusing on like recent price action, not further back price action when we're getting our SMTs. So let's say we have the 5-minute that's kind of consolidated, like this up here, right? And then we get an SMT, a lower low, where over here, if I let this puppy play out, lower high, lower low. So after sweeping out sell side liquidity, what do we see? We see a 5-minute bullish SMT. We're going to the 1 minute, looking for a 1 minute break of structure. We did already sweep sell side liquidity, so we're looking for a reversal. I trade reversals. We're also in a 1 hour order block. So I'm looking potentially for a boomstick out of this 5-minute SMT. We already came up and respected this 5-minute, right? And then we get the SMT, which told me, okay, potentially we'll want to come back into this 5-minute and actually come either fill it fully or inverse it. And we can target these internal draws or target up to the external draws. This is where I really was targeting, was these external draws here, here, and up here, 4 hour draws. That didn't play out, as you can tell. I got stopped out once I got in this trade. Doesn't mean it's a bad trade, but let's run through what happened, what ended up stopping us out. Once we entered the trade, and this was something I want to know from what happened last week as well. Like I said, we got in right here, and on ES we had a 4 hour draw, which was sitting right here. We were in right here. Let's say on ES we got in right around here. We had a 4 hour draw on liquidity resting right below us, and we had a 1 hour, 4 hour that was untapped imbalances. Now, from last week, I ended up taking a trade, and it was a long. I was going for long, but we had a 4 hour draw on liquidity resting right below. And price, what does it do? It stops me out, fills out that draw on liquidity, and then it goes and makes its move. Something to note for potential refinement in the future is if we're getting a move off of this, let's say if I'm an S&T 1 minute break, but we also have a sell side liquidity resting right below, or an imbalance is resting right below, maybe you can get in, but be very cautious. But potentially just wait for price to sweep out the liquidity. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it boomsticks, right? But maybe, just maybe, be patient. Wait for it to sweep the sell side liquidity and tap into those imbalances, and then look for a move off of it. Maybe it just continues lower and you don't get a move. That's fine. We trade reversals. That's better than losing money, right? So I took a loss on the day today because of that. Just noting, like after that SFT happened, we end up seeing a 5-minute break of structure, and we continued lower. And after we tapped into those high time frame and fair value gaps, we ended up actually, which is here, we ended up actually pushing higher off of that. And this is more of Asia session, but then to end New York session, we tapped into those imbalances is around 10, 11 a.m. We slowly consolidated and pushed higher. The real move today, if you would trade continuations, would have been like sell side liquidity sweep. We get a 5-minute push up into this fair value gap, retrace into it. You get a 1-minute break of structure out of it. That could have been the move, and then we could have watched how that would have played out. Would have continued lower. So that's just something to note. So that could have been a move if you got in up around here. But I didn't do that. I ended up taking, like I said, the long because I trade reversals. We see sell side sweep. I'm looking for lawns. But overall, I took a loss today. Like I said, one thing's I have most of my journaling already done. And I'll pull that up. We're looking 11:12. Please tell me I got all my pictures. It did. So I already got all my journal. I wrote down trade overview, the key levels in the market structure, setup type, screenshots of what was happening. That's that right there. That's that right there. Oh, that's cool. Just isn't loading the photo. It's interesting. Don't know what photo that is, but ideally I would like that to load. Well, let's nope, not loading. Okay, well that's fine, I guess. But then trade execution, the emotional behavior tracking. Emotions were kind of high. I haven't traded in a week because yesterday being a bank holiday and the day before was a no news Monday. But I didn't like act on any of my emotions. So we're 4 trades out of 20 of following my rules. Perfect. That's the most trades I've taken following my rules in a row. So we're shooting for 5. Next time I put on a trade, and then the next would be 6, 7, 8, 9. You know. But yeah, journaling down what happened. So at the end of the week, every Sunday, I'm going to backtest and then go through my journal, my notebook, and all of this to look for patterns in the losses potentially, and just get some refinement ideas. No refinements yet until we finish our 20 trade sample. But after we do our 20 trade sample, we can end up looking for refinements potentially in the model. I'm around a 25 to 30% win rate with a 3RR. In order to be break even with a 3RR, you need a 25% win rate. So we're right at that break even phase, right at that break even stage. It's better than losing money. But ideally, we can get that up to a 40% by the end of the year, and that's extremely profitable. At that point, we're really rinsing. But right now, I'm just in this break-even stage without any refinements. So after this 20 trade sample size, if I have data to actually go off of, I can make small, simple refinements, maybe 2, maybe 3 refinements, 2 at least, and then maybe 3 refinements at most. And then add that into the trading plan, move on from there, see if we can improve that 30% win rate. Let's say we end with 40, and we can get that to become more, right? Yeah, going back into what we saw on the model. Like I said, market opens, we're pushing lower, obviously showing clear structure, which is now bearish. By the way, at 9 a.m. on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, this candle closes at 9 a.m. and it breaks structure. It broke structure. So we're screaming bearish. That's something to keep in mind. But also we were coming into that 1 hour order block, and we got a retracement into this, and then after that retracement we get a 5-minute bullish SMT telling me, hey, we might want to come deeper and fill in this or here. And otherwise we had a 15-minute free value gap that I might have wanted to just come and fill, or equilibrium. It didn't do any of that. It just continued lower. But like I said, potentially a reason to continue to lower is after we got that move already to go long, we still had sell side resting right below. Not far. Price likes to go for their area where there's most hoes. Think of it like that. Price wants to go in the area where there's the most bitches. If there's no bitches in that area, why is price going to want to go there? So like low resistance draws in liquidity. So like all this right here, which ended up coming and sweeping out. And then we got kind of low resistance liquidity resting buy side, which we ended up actually coming and taking out. Took some time to get there, but yeah, you get the vibe. So that's just something to know. Otherwise, follow the trading rules completely to a T, which is pretty nice. Something to keep in mind is when we're looking for SMTs, we want to see that recent price action and not price action that was a week or 2 weeks before. We want to see recent price action SMTs. SMTs are a little closer together. So like 5-minute, 15-minute SMTs that are pretty close to each other. Those are the SMTs that we like. Those are the SMTs that can play out big. The only thing I think today that was stopping us is that 4-hour breaking structure to the downside. And not really getting a big push out of that order block. And like I said, the draws on liquidity right here on the sell side resting right below us in the imbalances. If we go to here though, just look off of that order block. So like I said, the order block is right here. It filled pretty deep down into that actually. and now we're kind of pushing out of it. It's already been filled. So that's something I'm gonna have to mark up and go through. How we looking? Lean. Yeah, I mean, fuck, it's already 9:53. I'm gonna be up till 11, just journaling everything else, finishing all this stuff. I'm gonna watch a show, but I wanted to make sure I had this clear. The video, I don't think I'm gonna need much, but it's just just being able to visually see it, so I can go back and look on it. But I think the trading journal is enough. The trading document is enough. It's just the trading journals, either the live recaps or the post recaps, to look through exactly what we saw. But yeah, the move today, we entered off a 5-minute SMT, 1-minute breaker structure, and like I said, the week before, we took a sell side sweep. We took an SMT when there was like 30 minutes later, there was a sweep, right? But on this day, we swept liquidity today before we ended up getting in on that move. We swept liquidity pretty close to where we ended up getting the SMT. It was recent, and we were also in that high time frame bullish order block. But it did not play out, and we got stopped, and we continued lower, which is fine. Stuff to journal, right? I don't really know anything else of really what there is to say. Confidence is getting better. A year ago when I first got back into trading, I was like, this is either going to work out or it's not. I really don't know. Maybe it's 50-50, and now it's to the point where it's just patience and knowing that it's just going to work out. If I just stick to it, stick to my rules, become disciplined and consistent, and not a consistent winner, but consistent in my trading plan and following my rules. And over time, I can make small refinements, and I'll have data to go off of it to make refinements and improve that win rate over time. Ideally, in an ideal world, I could have like a 50-60% win rate with a 3RR. That'd be perfect. That'd be so nice. But yeah, the government shutdown too, I think, is over now. We had no news today. We have no news going into tomorrow. We have no news going into the next day. It's a bunch of yellow folder. So we're going to see with what that wants to do. It's going to be simply price action. Price is going to make its moves off of itself. So we're going to see where that wants to go. Can get rid of this. I'll keep this. Get rid of this. And get rid of that. But yeah, overall, feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty confident. Even after we took a loss, we'll be back on the market tomorrow. It'll be a normal trading day tomorrow. Maybe I see something. Maybe I don't. I'm getting tired of the SMTs though. I would like to see some moves with my mech model, my mechanical model, which is this. But I mean, SMTs are valid. I do like those moves. I literally had a 22 RR last week from an SMT. So it's just being patient when the model presents itself, put on the trade, just make sure it aligns with higher time frame alignment, and we're golden. And even if it doesn't align with high time frame alignment, or if I'm not for sure on it, put on the trade. Look at the outcome, whether not really if it was win or loss, but look at what happened with the higher time frame alignment. Did it align with it? Did it not? Did it play out? Did it not? Right? It's just stuff to really focus on. It's going to be a really short recap. It's only going to be like 15 minutes long. I don't really know what else to say. I'm thinking about maybe just not doing the live sessions anymore because they're 2 hours, and rather just getting the recaps done, which can take 20-30 minutes. And just going back on that, because otherwise with my live sessions, I got to go back through the whole thing. It's nice so I can document all my emotions during the 2-hour session, but also just being intact with myself, you know. I didn't exit the trade early today. I let the fucker ride. I let it hit my stop loss. There wasn't an opposing S&T and breaker structure in my direction, so just fully let it hit the stop loss. But yeah, that's something really the big thing to note today is SMTs. We want them to be closer together. Like it was this in this 5-minute range. Like this 5-minute range, this is how we want our SMTs to look. Even though this one didn't play out, when they're close to each other, recent price action. And here's the lower example on ES, right next to each other, right? Look for stuff like that. Not these SMTs where makes a low here, and it's like NASDAQ swept out this low, but ES didn't, so we're way past there. Like, let's not focus on that, right? Let's focus on the closer 5-minute time frame, 15-minute time frames where the candles are kind of combined together, kind of consolidated, and getting SMTs off of those consolidations zones. But one big thing to notice too is, like I said, if we're going to take a trade if we've already swept liquidity, that's fine. We're looking for the move to go higher. But if we're going to take a trade, we want to make sure that there's not sell side resting right below us and imbalances resting right below us, especially with the higher time frames breaking structure at 9. Yes, we're in the order block, but it's like I said, this is when it comes down to probability. It's like we're either going to reject out of this order block or we're going to want to push deeper sweep out that 4-hour sell side that was resting right here and fill in these high time frame imbalances, which is what we did. So I'm gonna end this video. Feel like it was a pretty decent explanation. Like I said, this is for me. My notes are gonna go deeper already on this, and I have a pretty good understanding of what happened in the market today. Going into tomorrow, I gotta go to the gym tomorrow, so ideally I'm gonna be off the market at 10:30. If I don't see anything, just get off at 10:30, and yeah, you'll know if I, like I said, you'll know if I take a trade. You're gonna know because I'm gonna post it. Because like I said, I need stuff to go look back on in the next year to like really see the progress, really see the refinements, and really see what works best. But yeah, I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna start journaling my stuff. I'm gonna turn on my TV show while I journal, and I'm gonna ideally be asleep in the next hour. So yeah, I'll get this uploaded, and peace.